Our speaker today is Jen Barnett, an entrepreneur, an activist, and a dear friend of mine since high school. When I first met Jen, she had broken her back and missed the first 2 months of our freshman year. I underestimated her because I didn't realize she was and is a fighter and has overcome just about every obstacle in her path. I've been playing catch-up ever since. We graduated together from Resource Learning Center, now known as the Jefferson County International Baccalaureate School, considered one of the top schools in the nation. She earned her bachelor's degree in just 3 years, graduating from Auburn. Jen also earned her MBA from Emory University's Goizueta Business School. She spent 10 years working in the field of traditional advertising and then another 10 years in web strategy and social media. She started blogging before I did, and I've been blogging for 8 years. In 2011, Jen co-founded Freshfully, a marketplace for local food, both online and in 2 brick-and-mortar locations in Birmingham. Just last month, the Alabama Retail Association named her the G Emerging Retailer of the Year. She's here to show how she built a community of 20,000 local followers on social media for Freshfully and how you can do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our speaker, Jen Barnett.
Gee, thanks. That was awesome. I'm going to lower this a little bit because I have a lot of buttons that I'm going to be pushing, and so I'm going to make this so I'm not holding this and pushing the buttons. Oh, there we go. So today I'm going to talk about how to be really, really attractive on social media. But first, I want to show you what inspired me to talk about this. Can y'all hear me? Okay? Everybody? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to act it out while it goes up back here. So basically, we're talking about sexual harassment, and we have a young man who's trying to approach some women. Now, he's kind of getting shot down, or he's thinking about approaching them because he's interested in asking out these lovely women who are now in his workplace. But when he approaches them, he might find that he gets slapped with a lawsuit. He's just asking her for lunch. No, that's a bad idea. Let's see the real way to do it. Here's the right way to do it. Hi, would you like to have lunch today? Sure, I'd love to. Great. How about a boob squeeze? Now let's try it again with another lady. First, we can see the most important thing. Now he's going to try brunette and see how that works. Approaching. No. That's a bad idea. Now let's see the right way to do it. Great, here's my home number. So here are the tips. Be handsome, be attractive, don't be unattractive. And that is how you avoid sexual harassment. You'll go watch that on YouTube and then you'll really be so impressed. So those are the same as my tips for social media, is to be attractive, don't be unattractive. And marketing is a lot like sexual harassment as it is portrayed in this video, because the more attractive you are, the more you can get away with your customers. Fortunately, not everyone is attracted to the same things. Here is Tom Brady and his wife, Giselle, and me and my husband, Putty. So there are different things that attract different people, and one of the things that you want to find out is what's attractive to the people you are looking for. I'm a process person. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I like to break things into pieces and then make a plan and work the plan. So for me, social media is a function of 4 things. It's your brand, your goals, the media that you're using, and then the content. When it comes to being attractive, really most of that falls into the content that you're producing, the words that you're saying, the pictures that you're using, and so on. But you really need to know who you're being attractive to before you get there. So regardless of the fact that most of the attraction comes into the content piece, I'm going to talk to you about the first 3 steps. The first one is defining your brand. And there are agency people in the room and marketing people, and that seems kind of like second nature. But for small business people, you'd be surprised at how rarely they do that. And I think sometimes it comes as second nature to you. I know who I am. I know what my brand is. I know what I'm about. I'm one person. I sell flowers or whatever it is. But how are you going to explain to your 50 employees in 5 years, or your customers, or remember yourself in 5 years when you're so close to the business that you don't really remember what you're about? You need to establish what your brand is and what you stand for. These are Fresh Fleece brand values. We try to be fun, egalitarian, meaning that we're not just for super foodies. Fresh, simple, did I say fun? Don't quiz me. Fun, simple, fresh, egalitarian, and healthier. And that's really important too because, we have sometimes foods like Golden Flake or Benton's Bacon, but we want to be a healthier option, not perfect. And we came up with these the first week that we started working. We did it before we came up with our logo. We did it before we decided even what we were going to do as a business other than something about local food. And now, when I go to make decisions 2.5 years later, or I want to see if I should post something on Facebook, it's really easy for me because I can say, is this fun? One of the things that I could post a lot about is Monsanto or factory chicken conditions. And I could probably get some customers that way, or I could get people to be turned off by the grocery store, but it's not fun. So it's not my brand, and I let somebody else post information like that. You can do this in a day. You sit down, we do a big exercise where we write all the words on the board that we can think of, then we give different words points. We use dots or SurveyMonkey, and by the end of it, you have a really good idea of what you stand for, and you can put that plan together. The second aspect is your goals, and this is kind of the opposite in that usually small businesses have an idea of what they're trying to accomplish, but they don't always communicate that to their marketing or agency people. A lot of times you're just told, make a website or build an ad campaign, but you don't really know numerically what you're trying to accomplish. Every one of your tweets is showing up on this phone, which is awesome. So you don't always know what you're trying to accomplish. And I'm talking about putting together real business goals. These are some examples. They all have money attached. An example of a goal is not, I want to build a Facebook page, and I'll talk about kind of why that is in a second. But also, I want to have 10,000 Twitter followers is not one of these goals, because I need to know what that means in American dollars. Figure out what that means. 10,000 Twitter followers means 500 customers, means 4 sales a year at $25 a piece equals $100. Figure out what that means numerically, because you can figure out if you're achieving them, but also if you have someone doing your social media and marketing, you can help them figure out if they're achieving it, which keeps everybody on point. Okay, so these are some of Fresh Fleece goals, and I breezed through it a little bit, but we want to have be more profitable. We want to grow our sales. We want to, at some point, grow the business. We want to not become homeless and starving. And each one of these business goals has someone I have to influence to make those things happen. And these are some of the examples of people I have to influence. For example, if I want to be more profitable, I have to get employees to spend less. I have to get vendors to take less money for product, or I have to get customers to spend more, pay more for things, or to buy things that are more profitable. So the reason that I want to build a Facebook page is not one of these goals is because I don't have to influence anyone to do that. That's just a to-do list item. You want a Facebook page? Make a Facebook page. Goal achieved. But all of these are people that I have to influence. And so doing this exercise gives me a really important piece of data, which are all my audiences. So some of the audiences that we try to influence are our customers, the media, our vendors, God, who's on Google+, so I never see him, but all of these people are people that we try to influence. And for the most part, the people that we're trying to influence on social media are our customers, right? I mean, whether you're retail or you are doing social media for a client of yours who's retail, most of the time it's your customers, although you can influence other groups as well. So I wanted to talk about our customers in particular. They are women 25 to 54, just like everyone's customers. In our case, they tend to live in Crestwood and similar areas, and they tend to have kids, and of course they like local food more than other people. So now I have this outlined audience, and what's really nice about that is that when I move into the media choices of what I'm going to do, all I have to do is find where women 25 to 54 hang out online. So that you can, if you don't know that or it's not intuitive, all you have to do is Google it, and you can find out that women's interaction in this age group is more likely to be on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So those are the places where I am. I don't have to worry about LinkedIn as much or Reddit or whatever else, because I know this is where my customers are, so I focus my attention there. Okay, so this is basically where we are right now. Because I've done these other exercises, I know I'm trying to sell food to women 25 to 54. I'm trying to do it on Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. And now all I have to figure out is what it is that I want to say. But it's a lot easier to do because I know all of these pieces up front. I'm not just like staring into the abyss of every possible thing you could say to every possible person on every possible media channel. So I want to talk about what attracts women to 25 to 54. So the ways you can find this out, there are like 3 ways. First of all, you can research it, and a lot of that kind of research is available if you Google it. You can research it yourself. You can go and ask them. You can do focus groups, or you can do trial and error, which is by far the cheapest and easiest way to do it. And what I found out over time is that women in our group, they like cute animals. Go figure. They like simple, easy recipes. They like the occasional picture of our smoking hot dairy farmer. Yeah. And thankfully, because we're so focused, they really like to hear about what we have for sale. So when I go to actually do posts, it's really simple. Like I have to like rein in the number of things I could post about that our customers would be interested in. And then my posts are pretty simple. We have bacon. Here are cute squash. I earned a badge. It's just really easy to do. If it's more visual, it's on Instagram usually. I might later share it on Facebook. If it's more text-oriented, it might be on Facebook or on Twitter, and so on. It's just, once you have all these pieces in place, all the mystery falls away. This is really the culmination. Has anyone here seen this picture? That's pretty good. Have you seen it on our feed or just seen it in general? Okay, so this was a picture that a friend of mine posted in her feed, and her feed was private, so I asked her if I could download it and repost it, which of course she said yes, because she doesn't know these chickens. And we posted it, and it got 36,600 and something shares as of the last time I looked at it. But you can see why if you see our brand and our goals. It is a cute animal. There's a craft project. It shows local food in a happy environment. It makes people feel good, and they feel a connection to the food they're eating. In this case, it's eggs, not actual chickens. But I probably wouldn't have predicted that it would be so popular, but in retrospect, it makes sense. And by having my goals and brand outline, I'm able to post content a lot of times that eventually will get some kind of crazy viral response like that. Wade actually did an article where he found the owners of the chickens and interviewed them And they were kind of mad because I hadn't credited the chickens on Facebook, but that's beside the point. So anyway, so they traced it back to the lady who actually made the chicken sweaters. We've talked about it so much. Okay, so these are some of the overviews. So basically, I want all of the posts we have to have something in it for my audience. Either they think it's funny and they can laugh, it's a time-saving tip, something they like. It makes them feel good about the choices they've made because most of our customers have chosen to eat local food on some level. So they can feel good about that they are eating a vegetable or that they're eating kale or they're eating kale from Demetrius Hooks. And so they feel good feelings about it, and I want to reinforce that. Or, we obviously use it as a customer relationship management tool also, and we answer questions really quickly. I wanted to go over a couple of other things. I think this slide is the next one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of other things. One is to give yourself a rating. We don't try to sanitize and be like a G-rated product because Publix can do that. But our customers don't want XXX rated content either. So we kind of give all of our social media networks a rating, and that helps a lot when you have people helping you with your stuff. If it's super sanitized, it can be, although that's fine too, and XXX is fine too, depending on, what you're working on. But, so typically with Facebook, we try not to go beyond PG-13. Like everyone's camera went up when that slide came up. So great. How I remember it. So anyway, but the eggplant, that's more of a PG-13 thing, very voluptuous, Venus of Willendorf style eggplant, whereas the manly butternut squash I saved for Instagram because it's an edgier, younger audience. Oh, crap. Okay, this is the other thing. So the other thing, the one thing that 25 to 54-year-old women do not like is 20-year-old women. This is really important because there's nothing wrong with hiring college interns or fresh graduates to manage your social media. But if you, like all of us, are trying to reach 25 to 54-year-old women, be cognizant that they don't like 20-year-old women. So you need to make sure your 20-year-old or 22-year-old employee understands your brand really, really well, understands your goals really, really well, and knows to post stuff for that demographic and not for herself. But the more that you structure it out, the more that's likely to happen. That is a really big thing. I see that a lot. So another thing when it comes to Facebook in particular, and we have 20,000 followers, but the majority of them are on Facebook. And the reason that we've chosen to do it that way is because on Facebook, you have a lot more permanence to the content that you make. And so, all the comments are together and people can share it. And it's just a lot more relationship building. And because of that, women behave around it in a certain way. But unlike Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter, where content is presented in a fairly chronological way, Facebook filters it the way that they want to. So the best way to figure out what Facebook filters and what it doesn't is to try stuff and to pay attention. These are 3 posts that I made on Monday, and if you see, they're all about pretty much the same thing. They're about me cooking sweet potatoes and kale. So the first post over here is a picture that I took on Instagram of the dinner I made, which was sweet potatoes and kale. And Facebook showed it to, I think, about 1,000 people out of 14,000 total. The post in the middle is a collage I made of professional recipes that we have on Pinterest that go with sweet potatoes and kale. And I tried this out of the blue because someone had posted on LinkedIn an article about Facebook loving collages, and how it knows it's a collage, I can't begin to fathom. But I thought, well, I'll try that, so I made this collage. And Facebook showed it to a paltry 600 people. So, it just wasn't worth the time I spent making all of these images be the same size and fit into this little grid, because nobody saw it. Whereas my poopy looking post over here that is just, I made sweet potatoes and here's how, was shown to 4,000 people. The reason that's important is because, let's say that these 600 people who see the collage always see pictures like that. It's not exactly the same 600 every time, but let's say those 600 are seeing a lot of content. I want to vary my content up a lot to keep them engaged and interested. And as you can see, about the same number of people liked all the posts. So obviously, the people who are seeing it are more likely to like it, but not as many people will see it. If I have a call to action, if I want you to buy something, a veggie box, it's going to be a text post almost every single time because I want the most people to see it as possible. That changes, and so it's just one of those things you have to play with. And if you're a full-time social media person, it's a lot easier, and you're reading the trades every day, it's probably easier to keep up with it. But I'm more of a trial and error kind of girl. That's probably obvious by now. Okay, so obviously you don't want to show your content in an empty room. So if you're starting from scratch, you need to go up and build your followers. One of the ways on Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram is to go follow like-minded people, which there are a million online tools you can use. But a cheap, easy cheat for that is just to go to your competitor's page and follow all their fans because they're probably like-minded. And that gets you started. On Facebook, however, we did spend. We ran ads for about a year that were, your friend likes Freshfully. And I highly recommend it. It was well worth it for us. The reason that we did it is because, to me, it was the best place to get the word out about what we were doing. Since we're dealing with a psychographic being people who love local food or are educated about it, you're more likely to like local food if you're friends with someone who likes local food. And it's a great digital word of mouth tool. So there's nothing wrong with spending. You don't want to buy followers, but there's nothing wrong with spending to get the word out. Oh, okay, so basically, to reiterate, brand values, goals, choose your media, publish your content, and when all else fails, kitten. This is Tiny Cat, actually. Who knows Tiny Cat? Tiny Cat is a little kitten we found in the store, and kittens are popular on the internet, in case you don't know that. And so I was like, oh, mommy's little gold mine. And but so we post videos and pictures of her, and everybody loves her. She was in the store for a long time, so of course, people love that too. And of course, she ended up being way more trouble than benefit, but she is adorable.